part 4. This is part 5, isn't it? Part 4? I don't know. Of the zombie apocalypse. The zombies take back the Isle of Man, but cannot take back Ireland, as it stays in Irish and Allied control. Meanwhile, on the other side, well, you'll find out. They've landed in the northern part of Mexico, but maybe still in a stalemate when they meet around this river thing. I don't look at geography of rivers, okay? Mexico City falls. These places fall, but except from this one, that one still holds on. This place is almost fallen. This island's been taken. Georgia? Um, um, Suriname and all those countries, well, they're being taken over by the zombies. All these countries are being taken over by the zombies, which is quite a bad thing. And they start moving into Brazil, but it stays in the stalemate when they've taken over most of Colombia. After they took Colombia, it stayed in the stalemate on the Ecuadorian, Peruvian, and Brazilian border. Same with Africa, except for maybe a couple slight advances from the zombies in Sudan, surrounding a place in Sudan and wiping it out in 2 days. Sudan has been wiped off and a couple areas have been taken back. And Kenya is starting to be attacked also. Meanwhile, Afghanistan, well, they're still holding on. Except from one place though. And it's the area in this region, well, stays pretty normal. Well, except when the zombies taking out this part. And is when the defensive comes. Indian forces move up and surround Kharkiv. Meanwhile, Chinese forces take the other area. Chinese forces push into was other countries' territory, but now zombie territory. The Russians take their own part. They don't have many men across the border, so not many men would participate. My English sucks. This region in Georgia falls, and Russia takes a couple regions back, as the zombies hold off on other areas except from one. And I say multiple, because they've now taken back one of that pond thing is on there. But the Indians can't forget about this region that has been spreading quite far into India with mass numbers going into Indian territory, causing a stalemate in the Indian sub-territory, which slowed down the Indian influence in the other areas, leaving it up to China, which also makes zombies gain slight probability in this region. Other areas like Peru, Chile, and Ecuador, every single other South American nation, have all joined Brazil, and they are now called the South American Union. And the South American Union, with all their force, start pushing the zombies back with mass numbers. They take these regions back in light speed. And the paratroops in this region disrupting the zombies, making their fronts in these regions easier. As they surround these areas, but that is still quite a big front and will cause massive casualties. But the zombies still hold on despite many victories by the South American Union. The Americans started their own offensive back into the region and retake this place, whatever it's called, and they now finally start to take Texas back after a long, decisive campaign. They also plan to cut them off, but it is unsuccessful, so they do another offensive, pushing them back across this region, then cut them off, which they did relatively successfully, despite losing a lot of their military, so they didn't really get many other advances in other regions, despite maybe a little bit in Mexico. The Central African Republic unites with the Democratic of the Congo and some other areas to make the African Union. The African Union is a prohibition against the zombies, so they shall not make the zombies pass. A lot of countries in this region are poor, so we're about to find out what happened. Well, they start moving. They start moving across this region and surround the place relatively quick. despite quite a lot of casualties on both sides. They pushed up with quite well success. They were held off by the zombies over in this region, but they take half of Abyssinia back and start their own and surround this region with no mercy, and surround another place in Somalia, or Somaliland, and taking that island. Don't ask how. Right as you thought the zombies were going to win, the Indians finally gain momentum and start moving the zombies back, dragging them out. In the original campaign in this region, well, they're now surrounded in this little region right here. And same with this region, except a bit bigger and a bit bloodier and a bit of a larger front. Sri Lanka also joined India because of their growth economy and other reasons, and this battle is still going on. In fact, the zombies pushed the Chinese out of this region, but they cannot push the Indians out, and the Indians took two of these regions. But the campaign, despite taking the major part and leaving them out, but many casualties still go and are reported there. The Russians start their now offensive into Ukraine. Well, they did earlier in the war, if you remember in my episodes. But even so, this is now the liberation of Ukraine, as Ukrainian uprisings happen. Ukrainian uprisings make this region Ukrainian, and they stay relatively pro-Russian, but also pro-democratic, which may commit mixed relations. So now the zombies are getting pushed back in the east with heavy casualties. It's really a good thing. And Moscow, well, they've been pushed back from Moscow, and, well, they've been pushed back quite far away from Moscow, because they're not really good with cold as well. Something that Napoleon and Hitler have to learn. They retake St. Petersburg, but they are held off by the zombies in Finland, and the campaign stays in a relative stable. And they retake all of Azerbaijan, Armenia, and a little bit of Turkey back. They're also relied on in the campaign down here in the Stani regions, like as we like to call them. And they, Afghanistan's gonna have a fun time during this. The Russians surrounded this massive zombie core, but they cannot break it. So they ask the Chinese to help to break the zombie core before they start spreading out, as they make a stable front on the Persian border. Well, ish, because they kind of pushed in the Persian border. They start moving up in outnumerous ways. They start getting pushed back as well, despite heavy losses, and, well, it's kind of chaos over here. As many regions are retaken, non-taken, as another place is also surrounded. I guess this, whole series is about, surrounding. They make a massive encirclement in Chadish area, and they start making their liberation of Sudan. And they retake a lot of these areas, and surround, modern-day Djibouti, and a couple areas. And this is why they cut them off, but this campaign into the Middle East was unsuccessful, including some couple setbacks in this region, leading a bit of a failure in this region. The zombies in America are basically outgunned. They have lost pretty much everything. They have been pushed out of one region. Florida is being reached by the Americas. The whole front for the zombies have been collapsing, and the zombies have no way out but to die. Another surroundation in Alabama, and then a big surroundation in Texas, whatever, as they make their liberation of Florida as well, making it a massive day, and liberating the Bahamas. Not liberating Cuba though, as they slowly but surely push down, and they start giving Mexican resistance groups weapons so they can, distract the zombies as they make a stone line across the region. Mexico starts taking back all these regions with no resistance. They they surround, well, almost surround the whole region, but get kind of pushed back after that. There's been a bit of a tricky situation up north and quite a few foundations in the region, with Mexicans helping the US. India does one last final assault for his army in this region, and then making the start of the zombies, pushing them out of this region, and, well, the Indian subcontinent. Well, I guess everything's Indian now? I guess? Well, zombies gone. I guess that's the end of the series. Well, India won the war. Thank you for the series. Bye bye. Yeah, I'm actually serious. Bye bye.